very good morning to you. You're welcome to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. My name is Rome Paulson. It's Monday, the 17th of March, 2025, and it is known as Act Happy Day. Now, this day is in celebration of happiness. So even if you do not feel happy, just act happy. And it brings about positivity in your life because you're smiling, you're happy. And you can celebrate this day by doing everything that gets you a good laugh. So if you love movies, if you love to hang out with friends, if you love food, whatever you love to make you happy, you should act happy today. I know that, the pressures in the world, in Nigeria, where we live, can be a lot. So instead of thinking about, all of the negativity, instead of giving yourself so much stress, why don't you, just think of the positive things, meditate on the positives of life, and make sure that you act happy today. And before you know it, your life will be changed because you would even feel better. Your health will be better as well. Well, on today's breakfast, we'll be looking at several hot topics, one of which is oil marketers cut purchases as fuel price war deepens. Much later in the show, we'll be discussing the fact that the House has approved tax reform bills and exempt military wages, as well as, religious funds too. We'll also be taking global stories that has made it to the front pages of our national dailies, as well as some top trending stories. But first, let's see our quote of the day. And our quote says, the best investment is in the tools of one's trade. And that's according to Benjamin Franklin. He is one of the founding fathers of America. He's a writer, he's a polymath, so many things. And he says this morning, the tools of one's trade basically is about what you do. You have all of the skills, you have all of the abilities. It's just for you to look inward and say, what can I do and how can I make it, benefit my society? How can I make it benefit my nation? So the tools of your trade are everything that you have, and make sure that you put it to good use. All right, moving over to our top trending stories. This first one says Nigeria's letter of credit payments dropped by 33% in 2024. Nigeria's letter of credit, which is LC payments, dropped by 33.28% in 2024, and it's declined from $1.31 billion in 2023 to $773.1 million, despite improved foreign exchange supply. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, shows that LC payments peaked at $150.86 million in October, while the lowest amount was $21.49 million, which was recorded in May. The decline suggests challenges in international trade, possibly due to foreign exchange shortages, stricter import regulations, and economic instability. Further analysis indicates a sharp year-on-year decline across most months, with March 2024 witnessing an 83.6% drop from the previous year. The CBN's efforts to stabilize the FX market, including selling $122.67 million to authorized dealers in July, led to a temporary increase in LC payments. However, Nigeria's external debt servicing, which totaled $5.47 billion between January 2024 and February 2025, has further strained the country's financial stability. Experts, including Tunde Amolegbe, the MD of Author 7 Assets Management, attributed the decline to unstable exchange rates, rising custom charges, and the exits of major international firms. However, he believes the recent tax waivers on essential food imports and potential FX market stability could lead to slight improvements. So, letters of credit, dropped by 33% in 2024. 33% is a huge number because, if you even see a decline, you probably want to see 5–10% max. So seeing 33%, and, like we've already said, it's due to the volatile economy. I mean, the exchange rate is not stable. We're not seeing as much industries, pushing here. Instead, a lot of them are leaving the country. We've seen the exodus of many manufacturing firms. We've seen the exodus of, even the people that we need, our capital, human capital as well, the brains here in Nigeria. We've seen that brain drain, the brain drain, so a lot of things have happened in Nigeria. The drainage system, it's a lot. So, of course, you would expect that, that 33% would be the number, right? But is that what we should be looking at? Definitely not. We should be looking at ways to ensure that we do not get to that number. So if possible, we leave it as a bare minimum of 5–10%. However, with the tax waivers that are coming in, we'll see how, it works, how it would just pan out, to be honest. Because with the new tax reform bills, a lot of people might not be charged a lot. So we'll see how that goes. Let's move over to our next top trending story. This one says, high port charges pushes businesses away from Nigerian ports. And the Shipping Agencies, Clearing and Forwarding Employers Association has warned that Nigeria's high port charges are making the country's ports uncompetitive, pushing businesses to Ghana, Benin Republic, and Togo. The chairman, Boma Alabi, revealed that vessel berthing fees in Nigeria have jumped to 200% compared to $200,000 rather, compared to $15,000 in Ghana's Tema port. Similarly, container clearing costs have surged, with 20-feet containers rising from 55,000 naira to 145,000 naira. 40-feet containers from 100,000 naira to 290,000 naira. She blamed excessive taxation, poor infrastructure, and lack of government consultation for driving investors away. Ramesh Saraf, Deputy MD of CMA CGM Nigeria, also highlighted that the Lekki Deep Sea Port, which opened in 2023, remains underutilized due to high transshipment costs, 3 times higher than other global ports. He noted that Nigerian importers and exporters are now preferring to use Ghana and Benin ports only to re-import goods into the country. He warned that without urgent reforms, Nigeria could lose its cargo business entirely. However, a Nigerian Ports Authority NPA official refuted these claims, arguing that port charges depend on various factors such as vessel size, cargo origin, and terminal status. He insisted that the 15% increase in fees should not have resulted in the extreme cost hikes SACFAIR reported. Despite NPA's defense, industry stakeholders continue to call for a review of port charges to make Nigeria's ports attractive for business and investment. A lot of people who do, foreign trade obviously fall into this boat, and it's quite alarming to see that every single time. In fact, I think there was a period where in 24 hours the fees, import duty was increased. In 24 hours, it was increased, and then it was increased again. And what that tells you is most people might not be able to do business the way they would love to. So we're not giving the ease of doing business. We're not giving the business environment, to be conducive for people to be able to thrive in. And imagine if all of our businesses are leaving Nigeria and going to Benin Republic, going to Ghana, going to Togo. What are we saying? First, we're not making as much money. We're getting so many loans. And then even the way that we could get money, you're putting a very high importation fee to that. So most people would definitely not want to do that, because you think of how much am I going to make from the goods I'm about to sell that I have to spend so much money to clear them. And even if I do spend so much money to clearing the goods, most people would be like, why is it so expensive? And I would not have the customers that I would love to have, because I'm not going to sell them. I'm not going to have a turnover in such a short period of time. It might take a while because most people do not have the purchasing power. So this is something that definitely needs to be looked into. I know that, they had suspended the import duty for food items, food items and some other related stuff. But even at that, we did not really know when that took flight. I'm not sure it has taken flight. So these are things that we need to look into seriously. If we're looking to grow the economy, you want as many people doing business so that even if you're taxing them by 5, 10, 15%, whatever the case might be, you know that the money is coming in. compared to saying you want to tax them at maybe 25%, and you're not really getting enough because most people would rather take their businesses somewhere else. So that's something that we definitely need to look at. The charges for imports in Nigeria is quite a lot. And if we want businesses to be able to thrive here, we need to look into that. All right, another top trending story says Anambra bans mobile phones in secondary schools. The Anambra state government has banned the use of mobile phones by secondary school students, citing concerns over distractions and declining academic performance. Professor Nkechi Ikejugu, chairman of the Post-Primary School Service Commission, announced the decision during the Anambra Schools Cultural Day celebration in Oka. She directed principals and teachers to confiscate phones found with students, emphasizing the need to maintain discipline and focus in school. She also stated that mobile phones usage during school hours has become a major distraction, making it necessary to enforce strict measures. She highlighted Governor Chukwuma Soludo's administration's commitment to improving education by fostering an environment free from digital distractions. The ban aligns with efforts to promote academic excellence and discipline among students. And beyond education, Ikejugu also praised the rich Igbo cultural heritage, urging students to embrace traditional values such as honesty, respect, and hard work. She stressed that Igbo culture goes beyond fashion and dance, and instilling these values in young people is essential for preserving the region's identity. When I was in school, I mean, I'm not that old, but I remember when I was in school, we definitely did not have mobile phones. And I mean, as of that time, mobile phones were not really in circulation. I remember I was already in maybe SS2, SS3 when mobile phones came in. But the truth is, I don't think you have any business if you're in school, especially in secondary school. I don't think you have any business having to take your mobile phone to the school. When you're at home, you can do whatever you want to do with your tabs, with your phones, your laptops, yes. But when you're in school, it is important that you focus on your studies. Now, I know that most times we would say, oh, for communication, you want to be able to communicate with other people, with your family. Why not have, you know, some of the house masters or house mistresses have these phones? And if you need to communicate, you go there, you make calls to your family, and that's it. But while you're in school, it's important that you are there for the core reason of being educated. And like we've seen, there's a decline in the focus, you know, because this is a distraction. I know it might seem like a very, you know, it's a measure that seems so far, like why in 2025, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do to ensure that these students are focused on their studies. And honestly, I think it's a good call. I think it's a good way. If you're at home, you can go ahead with your phones and everything you want to do. If you want to be on TikTok, on Instagram, whatever social media it is, because we've seen the rise of these social media platforms taking over the students. In fact, all of them want to be content creators, which there's nothing wrong about it, but you need to get educated first. So when you get educated, if you've decided that you don't want to use your certificate for anything and this is the path you want to follow, why not? But not being distracted without having a backup plan, you know, of your education. So it's important that you focus on your studies while you're in school. Finally, our final top trending story this morning says Atiku backs Nysc member who criticized Tinubu's government. Former President Atiku Abubakar has, you know, obviously backed this core member who, you know, voiced his support for Lagos-based Nysc member Uche Ogwamaye, popularly known as Ray, after she claimed to have received threats over a viral video criticizing President Bola Tinubu's administration. In a statement on X, Atiku praised Ray's boldness and described her as a symbol of a new generation of politically engaged women advocating for democracy and social change. He likened her to historic female activists like Gambo Sawaba and Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, calling for support rather than hostility towards her. Raye's viral video posted on TikTok criticized government policies and expressed frustrations over the worsening economic situation in Nigeria. She lamented that hard work no longer guarantees financial stability and openly called Tinubu a terrible leader. Following the video circulation, she alleged that NYSC officials pressured her to take down, the video, and that she has received threats. Atiku emphasized that Raye's Rayo represents the youth's determination to shape a better future, urging Nigerians to encourage a political participation. As of now, authorities have not responded to Rayo's claim regarding threats and intimidation. Over the weekend, this really took the social media by storm, and we saw this lady's video. In fact, I saw the other one where she was talking to one of the Nysc's board members, and you know, the woman was literally telling her to shut up and take down the video. I understand that, you know, a lot of people might be hurt that, you know, why are you openly calling our president a terrible leader? And for some people, especially the APC, would say, we've just been in office for less than 2 years. Why not, you know, give us some time? And that's what they've been saying for a while now, whereby, you know, it's just time to make sacrifices, tighten up your belts, things will get better, even though things haven't gotten better yet. But the truth is, this might just be a hard pill to swallow. Was she right? You know, about the policies, about how things are not working, about how hard work doesn't guarantee, you know, you the financial stability that you desire. It is quite true, because that's where we are right now. That is the reality for most Nigerians. Even if we would not come out to openly say it, we probably think about it, right? Maybe the words are a bit harsh, and maybe the fact that she openly called the president a terrible president is, you know, is a lot to chew on. But if we're being honest about the realities of Nigerians right now and what we're facing, how we're coping, it is true. Because you have to think of the cost of transportation. You have to think of the cost of food. Food right now seems like a luxury to a lot of people. Most people can barely afford a 3-square meal in Nigeria at the moment. You have to think of the cost of data. You have to think of the cost of electricity, because these are, you know, sectors that have had to increase their fees or their tariffs. You have to think of housing in Nigeria right now. She's a core member. She has come into Lagos and she has to get a place. How much is rent in Lagos at the moment? Or even in Nigeria at large, because sometimes I never really understand the real estate in Nigeria and why it's so expensive. But that's another kind of worms that we'll go into some other day. Now, there's so many things that would take your money in Nigeria, and you're working so hard, you don't even see the money that you're making. You cannot afford to save. You know, they say it in our local parlance, now who don't chop, now go fee save money. So how am I supposed to save when I've not been able to cater for my needs? My daily needs, which are not supposed to be anything so deep or so huge, basic necessities of life. So this girl, obviously, she knows what she's saying. She feels how she feels. And I think instead of threatening her, it's just to, you know, talk to her. How can we do things better? And that's the kind of government that we need. Government that is empathetical to the people and say, how can we do better for you? Let's listen to your plight. Let's listen to the things. Let's understand your plight. Let's listen to the things that you've said that you want. And we find ways to just make life easier. In Nigeria, life is hard. Let's be honest. Life is really, really hard. And we've seen, you know, cases of people who are giving up at the moment. We've seen cases of people who have left Nigeria. Why? Why are they leaving? Because they need the greener pastures somewhere else. The system probably just doesn't work for them. The exodus of the amount of brains, people, smart people that have left Nigeria is ridiculous. And we're not doing anything to keep the ones that we have here. Instead, we're making life even more difficult to push people away. A revolution might come. I don't know what that revolution is going to be. I don't know how it's going to be. We just hope that it's not something that would be grave. So it's important that the government starts to listen to the people. Do not threaten them. No. We should be able to speak up our minds and say, this is how we feel, and what you need to do is to listen to us, because that's the reason why you were elected in the first place, to be a transformational leader, to change Nigeria from where it is right now to something that is better and greater. So, like I said, it might be a hard pill to swallow. It might be some words that she used that maybe she should have been maybe a little bit more careful with it. But if we look at the underlying factor, it is the truth. It is the truth. All right, that's it for our top trending stories. We'll go on a short break. We'll look at the weather. When we return, we'll be taking the stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies. Please stay with us.